And we're talking one that we find to be, more on the fun side, but also one that's very polarizing for the street as well. And that is Tesla. What are you guys seeing when you're looking at the Tesla data?
Yeah, fun or maybe stressful, depending on which side of the trade you're on. This is a wild one. It should be in every textbook on short squeezes. It's a crazy stock to trade, but we're talking about one that was over 900 not very long ago, got down to 360, and now it's back up flirting with 800. So hold on to your account when you trade this one. When we look at the data on Tesla, and that's people talking about planning on or buying a new car from them. This is one that we've been bullish on for a very long time. We've been riding this wave since 2014 or 15, really. However, we're talking about the current quarter looks strong. We're showing purchase intent plus 30% year over year. I know they released numbers on deliveries that were about 40% year over year. So we're right in line with that. So we think that the current quarter is going to come in strong. We also think that that expectation is likely built in. However, when we look at the current quarter, it is off tremendously. It's off about 32% year over year. Very, very concerning numbers. And we're about a month into that quarter. And so as you guys have been talking about, yes, the numbers are very important, but forward guidance is also, I think, a lot of what's driving the market right now. And of course, it's got to be tough for a company to give any kind of guidance because, there's so much uncertainty around COVID and all that. So it's tough. But given what we know so far about the current month, the negative 32% pace year over year, we're very concerned with Tesla moving forward. And at these prices, it looks a little bit overbought. Alex?
Yeah,
I'll
and
jump
Kevin,
in
if you
here.
want to chime in here with any questions
Landon,
you may have.
Yeah. So, Landon, you're right. And that's what we've been reporting on, how important the guidance will be going forward because, everyone is going to be asking the numbers, the losses that some of these firms are talking about and listing and putting out in earnings and GDP today down 4.8%. No one cares about that. People care about what this economy is going to look like 6 months from now. And, car companies, they're all going through tough times and we totally expect Tesla to suffer with the rest of them. But don't you think that Elon Musk's ability to paint a picture for the future is what's going to make this stock trade? It's what's making it up 3% today. So how do you think about, do you guys do anything in terms of data other than the earnings and other than purchase intent? Is there any positivity measurement that you do, or is it still encompassed in your data that you already put out? Sorry,
Yeah,
that was
so I
long.
mean, we do look at sometimes what we call investor sentiment, and it's all over the place on Tesla. Generally speaking, it's very wild and it's very volatile, and it also relies on how Elon Musk is talking. He is one of the top 3 or 4 people who I would not want to bet against. So if you're talking about taking a bearish position on a stock, I would be so nervous when he gets up on stage and starts talking or just gets on that conference call because he always does a great job of painting that rosy picture. However, we've seen this stock go from 900 to 360. A lot of that had to do with the quarantine and COVID and all that, of course. But the data that we've got finally for the first time in years is actually trending down year over year. So this has been one where every time I've been on stage at a TD Ameritrade conference or on this show, we've always said purchase intent for Tesla's at all-time highs. It's just been on a record on repeat, all-time highs, all-time highs. For the first time ever, we're seeing this dip quite a bit, and it's actually led by that Model 3. We're showing the Model 3 demand is down about 73% year over year. Huge move down for that. And as you guys know, that is a tremendous portion of their sales right now. That's kind of what's driving all the new car sales. It's the affordable one. And so when you look at it, you're talking about a company that is worth 2.5 times Ford and GM combined. You start to wonder if the valuations are off a little bit. And again, though, I hate to bet against the guy because he scares the heck out of me. As if I'm going to be a bear on Tesla, I would be so scared. So here we've got a chart of that Model 3. And as you can see, it was doing really well. You can see the bump when they announced it back in July. You can see the run up to May, and then it has just been nosediving ever since. And so concern with Tesla here. And at these prices, I'm not going to take a risk-weighted position. I'm going to take something where I can only lose so much, but I am going to be a little bit bearish going into these earnings.
So Landon, that's an interesting setup here, because I have a question. Because obviously you talked about it goes down from 968 down to the mid 300s, and of course snapping back now to 790. There's always a question around this, and you mentioned a little bit about investor sentiment and how volatile it can be in this name, and it depends so much about what Elon and the team is saying in regards to their plans. But this, to me, because it's such a story about what Tesla is going to do to change the world, and it's all about innovation, you would think, and this is just me thinking out loud too, so please correct me anywhere I'm wrong or wrong in my thinking here, is that this is a company that, yeah, they're impacted like everybody else. They're not going to be, selling as many cars in the near term, more than likely, because less people are going to be spending on big ticket items and factories are closed down. But has this ever been priced as a car company, or is the car company just to a means to whatever this innovative end is down the road for something like Tesla, whether it's through batteries or other things that we don't even know what they're going to do yet? To me, it's always been a binary story about change the world or not. And if you're in the change the world camp, does this short-term blip really impact you?
Right. That's a great question. In the startup community, there's a concept, what is your valuation worth? And oftentimes you market against revenue or maybe even profit. And if you're early enough as a startup, you can claim a mark to fantasy, which is, we're going to change the world. Revenue's not important. Don't worry about all that kind of stuff because the vision is so great. And that lasts for a while in the startup world. I know Tesla's not a startup, but this is the world I'm familiar with. And you can get away with it for a while, but if you don't start delivering, then it's going to crash really quickly. Now, Tesla is delivering. I mean, we just talked about how their deliveries for the first quarter are up 40% year over year. So they're getting it done. But there's still a little bit of a mark to fantasy, just like you're talking about, where they are this visionary company that's going to completely change the world. So don't weight us based on our revenue. Don't weight us based on our sales or profit, because you compare them to the other car companies and it's crazy, the valuations. So yes, that's a huge factor. And it's just a question of, if you're going to be a bear on this stock, it's a question of, when does that actually happen? When do investors say, you know what, enough's enough, I can get a better ROI on a company that's actually turning a huge profit, rather than maybe will change the world in 5, 10, or 15 years. And so I think that's up to the investor. I think that short term, there's probably a lot of people who think that car sales are down, and of course that's the case. But just the fact that people are not expressing pent-up demand for the Model 3, they can't wait to go buy one. They're not really saying that. Those are the kind of words we're looking for, and so that's concerning to me. But yeah, absolutely, I wouldn't want to go against this showman. He's fantastic, but eventually they're going to have to change the world. They can't just always promise to in the future.